Hey, welcome back, Shoalers, to another wonderful episode of the Natural Aquarium. Today, we're doing something a little different with this cave aquarium. In fact, a whole lot of things different. But as always, we got to start with a nice organic soil. I'm putting it inside of these plastic bags that I found. These are ones that don't degrade or anything, and it's gonna hold all the soil for me because I'm gonna do things a little different in the sand layer and stuff as well. But you know, it's always great is having that aqua preta mix straight from Father Fish. Get it in there, make sure that your soil has all the nutrients for your plants to start right. So measured it up right here, threw it inside the aquarium, and I wanted to leave a zone in the front and the sides where it's just going to be pure sand because I want the plants to focus on growing in the middle as opposed to the sides. So I went and I threw a layer of pool filter sand in there. It's a sand I use all the time. It's perfect grain size, and I was just using this as a cover layer because I have a different sand that I've never tried before. In fact, this whole thing is just nothing but experiments, guys. So this is a sand that I found that had a nice rich red brown color to it. So I wanted to try that out, spread it around, made sure that it was the only sand that you could see visible inside the aquarium. And I also had quite a few little holes, nooks, crannies to shove it into because I'm trying to avoid having fish and shrimp and everything go into areas where they will end up getting caught and disoriented and things like that. So next step, of course, put some water in it. Yeah! And you'll note that I'm just using the bag itself as a way to stop the water from going in and mixing around the sand because I did not clean this sand. This sand has all sorts of fines in it, which you will see in just a moment. But even with all the fines, it still works. Typical equipment, nothing special. So as far as the planting in this one, I have a good idea of where all of these plants would grow best. A lot of them are ones that have lots of space in between the nodes of their leaves, and the majority of them are actually trimmings off of plants that I got from Father Fish too. So again, guys, get your soil mix, get your plants right there at Father Fish. He won't steer you wrong. And the idea here with my planting is just to focus everything on the center. So I go and I plant out a lot of the edges, and then the center area is going to end up being a place where we've got ground cover plants and such. And yeah, here's where you can see where washing the soil would have been quite useful because unfortunately all the fines are in the water column and it's really hard to see, but we'll give it a day. And here it is after that day. You can actually see where everything is. They all just went in. Again, all the short stuff up front. Hopefully that'll end up carpeting for us. We'll see. And then all the long stuff in the back. Got a few epiphyte, rheophyte, whatever you want to call them, Anubias and Java ferns and stuff hanging out on the branches there. And you can see where the plants have attracted some of the fines out of the water as well. And there's also still plenty of fine particles sitting along the bottom. So sit back and enjoy the view because it's going to change a lot. So after letting it settle for a few days, I went ahead and I introduced a whole bunch of microorganisms from my res jars that I keep, and I keep a lot of them, and they're all diverse. And honestly, as you're going to see here, we got so many little things that are just living in this aquarium on every single possible surface. Got all sorts of biofilms, fungi, bacteria, protozoans, all these things that you cannot see with your naked eye, but you have signs that they're there. And this is what I love about these types of aquariums, is the fact that you can sit down and you can harness the raw power of a full ecosystem. Well, as much as you can shove into 40 gallons of aquarium, but I would aspire to have an ecosystem. And so look, tiny little wispy guys just hitting in there. And I don't know what exactly they are because I did not sample them at the time. Could be the nopali of things like Cyclops, aka copepods. Could be who knows what, just tiny little crustaceans everywhere. Not to mention all the multitudes of different bacteria and stuff that you just can't see. But you can tell they're there again by what it is that's going on and the biodiversity of things that are feeding upon them. Even the snails are getting in on the action, eating this lovely rich film of food, and they do quite well, as you'll see in the future clips. So even while some people would find this completely ugly, nasty looking, to me, I'm looking at this stuff and I'm like, oh yeah, this is the good stuff. And unfortunately, as many of you may know, it just doesn't last very long. Unfortunately, a lot of this stuff will burn itself out very quickly, and once you introduce your fish and stuff, it just goes away. And oh look, there's my little friends, the ostracods. Made sure to get them in there too. Sorry, Purge. Hopefully you'll find some someday. But yeah, ostracods, another great little addition. And I think we got some lovely shots of copepods and stuff coming up here. Oh, whoops. Yeah, even the cyanobacteria came in for a little while. Wasn't too bad. Ended up cleaning itself up after a while. No problems at all. And we got all sorts of other little things that just settled in. And oh, they were there. There's our copepod friend. Front and center. Lots of eggs. In fact, they're still occupying this aquarium to this day. They haven't all been picked off yet. And the big thing behind this aquarium is the fact that I have provided so much surface area for all of these little things to live, but then also tons of little places where they can hide. So that way, even if they are being pursued by fish, they won't all get eaten. They will have places of refuge. And I know that there was a comment in the last video, oh, this is going against everything that this channel normally does. Well, maybe a little, because we aren't using entirely natural components. It would be great if I had a boatload of driftwood and rocks and everything to build this out of. It would also be super heavy. Unfortunately, I don't really have natural water sources to pull from around here. It's very dry and arid. It's also a La Nina year, so we haven't gotten much rainfall. And so what I've done is I've done my best to make the unnatural harness the power of the natural. So yes, even though we will aspire to mimic nature in its entirety, sometimes the unnatural is a good proxy for getting that done. And again, it's completely experimental, so we'll see what happens in the long run, but I will tell you, in the short run, this is by far the most biodiverse tank for the longest amount of time that I have ever done. These were a happy little addition to the aquarium. They came about purely by chance. I honestly didn't see them inside of my res jars, but who knows, they may have been there the whole time, either in this form or perhaps in some sort of spore form. I don't quite know how these particular ones go and regenerate over time, but they have so many colonies across everywhere, and we've even got worms that for some reason we're living in and amongst the colony, probably picking up on some of the food that these guys are trying to filter out of the water column as well, because they are little filter feeders. And there's just diverse colonies of them everywhere, mostly on the glass, but then there were also plenty of them hanging out on the sides, even behind the the foam place, there was a little bit of water movement that goes back there, but not anywhere for like fish to go necessarily. And so I could find these everywhere. And in fact, the majority of them are still in there. I did lose the one that you're seeing the most here in the video. Unfortunately, that one just ended up getting knocked off by a snail, but hey, that's life when you attach yourself to the glass. The snails just mow down everything, don't they? So I'll leave you here with some more pictures of ciliates in action and worms that for some reason are hanging out with them. Oh, and don't forget that lovely little limpet right there too. He's a good one. Speaking of worms, I introduced some blackworms into the mix. These guys I've had going in a very small, I'm talking like 1 gallon little container, for the longest time. They've been in there with my isopods as well as a few other little invertebrates. So I figured I'd drop them in once I noticed that things were starting to mature a little bit. So these guys will hopefully be able to find enough food and evade the fish for long enough to perhaps set up their own little colony of wormy friends in there as well. If not, oh well, we've got plenty of other different types of worms that, again, I don't know quite where they came from, but hey, that's just how it is in this biodiverse aquarium. All the more I could fit in there, all the better the entire environment would be for it. And here's my friends, the snails, especially the Ramshorns. They've always been a favorite of mine. They're very easy to breed, they don't get too large, they seemingly tolerate just about everything, and the fish won't necessarily pick them off either. Even the babies generally don't get messed with, although some of them do try and take a nip at them because they do look sort of like little eggs when they are small and just hatched out. And we've also got some bladder snails. Those guys just hitchhike everywhere. They're also great, pretty much the equivalent of the ramshorn, although they are a lot faster if they're in a race. I don't know if you want to set up some races sometime, but yeah, bladder snails will probably win the race. And there is one more little bit to the mix, and you hardly see them during the daytime. There are some Malaysian trumpet snails in there as well. And these limpets, I just get for free. I honestly have never added them purposely. I forget where I picked them up, honestly, as well. And they just keep going along, living wherever it is they live, and then you'll see little transparent ovals somewhere on the glass. And speaking of transparent ovals, here's some eggs. Can't remember if these were the ramshorns or not, but yeah, there's all sorts of little tiny guys in there, all waiting to hatch out and go about and clean the glass for me. That's my favorite thing about these ramshorns and bladder snails. They will clean the heck out of your glass. So I'll leave you to the snails. So hey, I'm a member of the local fish club, and there happened to be an auction, and I picked up a color shrimp I haven't gotten before, yellow! So we added some yellow neos here, and they just get to work. I mean, I will not have a good aquarium unless I've got snails and shrimp in them. Those are the two foundational things. And I usually like adding them ahead of time so that they can just go ahead and prep everything for the fish and such. So I should honestly start some more shrimp-only tanks. These guys are just fabulous to watch. Little machines just picking through everything all the time. Okay, this is a fish channel after all, and you guys are probably getting bored by me and all my little things that I like to look at in the tank besides the fish, so here we go. I scored some Medaka, same fish club meeting as I scored the shrimp, and these are red Tiger Medakas. First time with this particular color. I do have some regular orange slash golden, whatever you want to call them, out in my pond, of course. These guys, wow, they egged up right away. This female right here is right on the first day, overnight from me getting her on Sunday and putting her in the tank on Monday, just immediately like, oh, egg time. And I was actually lucky enough to get some footage of her dropping some of her eggs on the hornwort, which we'll see in a little bit here. But yeah, I was just amazed at how quickly all the females just decided, yeah, this place is cool, let's just drop as many eggs as we can. So I think within 2 weeks of introducing them, every single female egged up, dropped eggs. And I did my best to collect some of them, but as is the issue in this type of tank, you probably won't be able to maximize the amount of fry you're going to get because there's just so many plants for them to lay their eggs on, places for the eggs to drop off and not be seen. So if you're going to go for maximizing your breeding output, sorry, the natural tank might not be the best option for that. But you can still do things like put in this hornwort here. I've noticed that the majority of them like to lay their eggs on it in my pond, and so as you'll see, this female is going to brush up against it and drop her eggs on, and voila, we have these little guys, which I then pulled out the entire piece of hornwort, stuffed it in a breeder box, and currently I have 8 of them that have hatched out, and I'm anticipating more in the next week here just because of the timing spread between when they were laid and when I caught them. So yeah, more Medaka on the horizon. Those of you that are also familiar with this type of aquarium already know that why do I even need to talk about the plants? Of course they're growing. Of course they're growing really awesome too. The big key thing as far as making sure that they do is just making sure you have plenty of ample lighting. Without as much lighting, obviously the plants don't have as much to go for, and some of these plants actually do require higher lighting than others. If you're wondering about my lighting, it's just a 3-foot shop light from our lovely big box store next door, and I also have a LED grow light that I'll throw on there whenever I'm not using it for experiments with the students. Which, by the way, kiddos, photosynthesis lab coming up soon. But yeah, here you go. A little overview of what happened to these guys over time. Alright, here's the part you're all waiting for. We've got a time lapse of the aquarium over about 5 weeks span here, so you can see the growth from day 1 through week 1 through week 2, 3, 4, and then all the way up to 5. And I'll update you guys as more comes. Please enjoy. And here's the current state. Thanks for joining us here for another episode of the Natural Aquarium here on Father Fish. Don't forget to leave a like, a comment, and a subscribe. They do help the channel. Thank you.